Hello, everyone. Now we're going to be looking at the life of Aristotle. Now, here you have a rough overview of what we are going to learn about. But the most important things to know about Aristotle is eudaimonia, which is happiness, and virtues. Those are the most important things. Now, before starting, it gives like a rough biography of him. We're not going to care about that. What is important is this: Aristotle rejected Plato's theory of forms, arguing instead that the essence of an object exists within the thing itself. Now, what Plato posits is that there exists an ideal form of anything in the realm of ideas. So, for example, this is the theory of forms slash ideas. You can see there's a physical drawing of a square that we do. We can scribble anything, but there is an ideal form of a square somewhere that is inaccessible to us in the realm of forms. They are intelligible, but not visible. So he says, no, I don't think this is true. Aristotle does not believe that this is true. Instead, he says that the essence of an object, so the ideal form of an object, exists within the thing itself. That's what it refers to. Aristotle was the first philosopher to systematically separate the areas of knowledge, dividing episteme, which means knowledge, into three distinct categories. The first category is theoretical knowledge, known as episteme theoretica. It concerns the world of necessary truths and scientific knowledge. Necessary truths in the scope of philosophy basically means truths that are unchanging, eternal, basically. 2 plus 2, that's a necessary truth, because in a world where 2 plus 2 equals 5, everything breaks down, okay? Kind of like that. Practical knowledge, which is episteme practicae, concerns thinking of practical actions and choices. So, what it means by practical actions is our day to day actions, saying hi to someone, not really thinking about it in a scientific manner, but in a day to day way. This can be the choices of you. For example, if you're going to go to a job interview, you can think practical knowledge. Or when you're trying to decide how you will live your life, that is also a form of practical knowledge. Poetical knowledge relates to your crafts, it relates to your craftsmanship. So, for example, if you're a programmer, your poetical knowledge is being a programmer. If you're a poet, your poetical knowledge is poems. And this is episteme poetica. In the when it comes to the concept of happiness, also excuse my nose, Aristotle's ethics are fundamentally built around the concept of happiness. He posits that every action, art, and inquiry aims at some good, while there are many ends, such as health for medicine, wealth for the economy. Happiness is unique because it is the only thing desirable purely for its own sake. What this means is we desire happiness because we desire happiness. In the previous examples, the reason you desire medicine is to get health, okay? But the reason you want to be healthy is to be happy. So it's the ultimate goal. Anything else is the penultimate goal. It kind of makes sense. So happiness is self sufficient and the ultimate chief good. So we are also introducing good here. Good being, something that's good. And it being ultimate chief good means exactly that. It's the ultimate goal. So, but the self sufficiency does not mean that you should be happy in a cave, okay? Because Aristotle defines humans as zoos politikon or something like that. So he says that humans are political animals. This means we need to be social, we need to have friends, we need to, work. This is our base need. So you cannot really be happy while lacking those. But Aristotle defines happiness formally as an activity of the soul in accordance with virtue. Now, virtue is also a complicated topic that we will get into, but in short, virtue is being locked in. It's doing what you do and achieving excellence at it. So, there are 3 types of lives that you can live according to Aristotle. The first one is the life of pleasure. It aims at enjoyment, and we share this with animals, okay? So, if you live your life purely for enjoyment in a hedonistic manner, then you are living the life of pleasure, which kind of makes you an animal. According to Aristotle, we share this flaw with animals because we strive to eat as we wish, we strive to drink as we wish, etc. The political life, the main goal you have is honor. But the reason that this is bad is someone needs to deem you honorable, okay? You cannot really deem yourself honorable. The way that you achieve honor is through your interactions with other people and through those people deeming you honorable. It's highly reliant on the society that you're living in. So Aristotle gives us the ultimate best life to live, and that is life number 3, the theoretical life. He says, this is the most peculiar and distinct life for human beings because it aims at reason. If you are spending your life trying to reason, to contemplate, to achieve the truth, to find out shit, then you are living the life, my friend. He divides the human soul into 2. The first one is the irrational part. These are the elements shared with other living beings, specifically our needs for eating, our needs for growing, our perceptions, But the rational part is the rational principles that we have. It's further divided into the scientific part, which is concerned with invariable causes, and the calculative part, which is concerned with variable causes. Now, these 2 are self-explanatory, basically. Invariable means they are essential. What did we define these as? What was it? I forgot. Necessary truths. Okay? So the rational part looks at necessary things that are unchangeable. 2 + 2 = 4. Whilst the calculative part operates on the practical knowledge. See where we're getting at with the human soul? So, for the categories of knowledge, we have theoretical and practical, but when you apply that to your soul, you get irrational and rational. Is that true? Yes, I would say yes. Oh, no, it's not true. You get the scientific and the calculative part. Sorry. I knew something was wrong. So we are moving on to the virtues. Virtues are states of character that make a person good, but by meaning good, it really doesn't mean being good in the sense that we traditionally know it. Although it leads to them being good, it leads to them being perceived as good. It's basically allowing them to do their work well, achieving excellency at whatever you do. He divides virtue into two categories: intellectual and moral. Now, moral virtues do not arise in us by nature, they come about us as a result of habit. A person must adapt their nature to gain moral virtues through continuous practice. So he says, you know how we defined morality in the previous chapters? He says that you become morally virtuous by grinding, basically. You build brick by brick to become a good builder. And moral virtue acts as a mean, or an intermediate state between two vices, excess and deficiency. This mean is not a strict mathematical calculation. In the questions, this was mentioned. It's not mathematical, but it's an intermediate determined relatively to the individual and their specific circumstances. This example really shows us what the golden mean looks like. Courage is the mean state. This is the state that we want to achieve. In moral virtues, you want to be right in the balanced part, in the mean. Because if you are deficient, you become a coward. You start running away from everything. But if you have excess of courage, I guess, then you become rash, which is fearing nothing and facing every danger without thought, which is something we don't want. So we want to be in the absolute middle, in this relative middle. But there is also the second type of virtue, which is the intellectual virtue. Intellectual virtues owe their birth and growth to teaching, requiring both time and experience. Aristotle says that we have 5 virtues. The first one is scientific knowledge. It deals with things that exist by necessity and are eternal. We have art knowledge, concerned with how something may come into being through a maker, so through a variable cause. We have practical wisdom, which is the capacity to deliberate well and act with regard to what is good or bad for a human being. For instance, when you know that a chicken is wholesome, it's a form of practical wisdom that helps produce good health. Philosophic wisdom is the combination of scientific knowledge and intuitive reason regarding the highest objects by nature. So philosophic wisdom is like the best kind of wisdom you can have because it's the scientific and you have intuitive reason. But the highest, the absolute best, I know I said philosophic wisdom is the best, but because it's highly tied to the next one, that's why it's the best. It's the penultimate best, I guess. The best one is reason, the highest virtue that grasps first principles and definitions, differentiating humans from other living beings. What are first principles? What are definitions? First principles basically means things that need to exist, things that are definitions of stuff. When you see an animal, that animal can see, oh, there's a water bottle here. That animal can see that, it can perceive that. But as a human, with my reason, I can see that this is made of plastic, and I call this a water bottle because it holds water and it's in the shape of a bottle, for example. First principles are things that exist first. They exist out of necessity, and I can comprehend them. It's a bit complicated, but it's good because you don't need to know these. I doubt this will be asked in the exams. Because happiness is an activity in accordance with the highest virtue, that being reason, and the highest element in human beings is reason, true happiness is found in the activity of reason. So, we are connecting everything now. Happiness is achieved through the activity of reasoning, through contemplation, or the theoretical life that we live. Aristotle says that contemplation or reason is the best, most continuous, most divine activity, loved entirely for its own sake, being self sufficient. Thus, it represents perfect happiness. What is perfect happiness? It's the activity of reason, it's living the theoretical life.